And welcome to the Pitchy podcast. We are your hosts, Stephanie
and Matt.
I'll explain who he is in a second. So here on the Pitchy podcast, we are passionate about good music and a great vocal. We'll use the vehicle of NBC's The Voice to give you our takes on each contestant. We'll give you our feedback on their voice and their overall performance. Here on the Pitchy podcast, we'll keep it 100 with our feedback and our critiques of each contestant's vocal and their overall performance. But what we're not here to do is come for anyone's character or any contestant as a human being. While I may come off a little bitchy at times, if you know what we mean, we'll do our best to speak our truths with love, kindness, and respect. And with that, we will get started with today's episode. But first, I want to introduce you to my guest. He is not only a talented singer and songwriter and musician, he happens to be my hubby and my baby daddy. So, say hi to the people, man.
Hey, everybody.
Thanks for joining me today. This is actually, to let y'all pitchies know, this is actually very weird. Not that my husband is co-hosting with me, but that I'm actually recording this podcast with somebody in the same room. Like we've never done that before. James and I have never been in the same room together. So it's going to be kind of weird because I'm going to be talking at you guys for those of you watching us on YouTube. So we're not going to be talking to each other that much because it's going to look weird. Looking at the sides of our faces. But I am very excited that you are joining me for tonight's episode. This was night 2 of the knockouts. We had 2 different groups that went, but before that, we had a cliffhanger from last night. We had Mara, who was saved, and she had her choice between 2 coaches. It was Coach Reba, I believe, and Coach Niall that chose to save her. And in the end, Mara chose Niall to move on in the competition with. So I'm glad that she gets to live to see another day. And I believe that the next rounds will be live, I think. So I'm excited to see her in the next round. So moving on, we had a bit of a surprise, because it was Team Niall, his 3 of his team members for the knockouts. But because of his touring schedule, he was not able to be there for the rehearsals for the knockouts. So he asked incoming coaches for season 25, Dan and Shay, to be there with his contestants for the rehearsal, along with Winona Judd. She was back with us as our mega mentor. And so here were the 3 artists that performed in this knockout. We had Aźan, we had Olivia Minogue, and we had Nini Iris. Now, let's talk about Aźan first. Aźan nearly made me fall off the couch. And you could, true story, as he was laughing, when we heard the name or the title of the song that she was going to do, she did Caught Up in the Rapture by the Anita Baker. So, Matt, what did you think about Aźan's performance?
Impressive overall. One of the things that struck me was that there is a lot of singing she's doing.
Yes.
Not in a bad way either. I understand if you're in a singing competition, you don't want to have long stretches where you don't sing. But still, there were a lot of notes in there, and that necessitated a whole lot of breath control. And I didn't notice her sounding like she was trying to catch up, or like she was late or didn't know what she was doing, or like the pitch was going all over the place because she was trying to gasp for air and all that. Like, she made all that sound smooth. Like that was one of the most impressive parts for me.
Mm-hmm.
So good for her for being able to do that.
Yeah.
And she had a nice full voice. She did a good job switching between the head voice and the chest voice. I mean, it was there. Not a lot negative to say about her. She knew what she was doing.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head with what I was thinking about with the breath control of it all. Because not only was she singing this song, which has a lot going on, more than you would think just listening to the song, because it's kind of mid-tempo and not, it doesn't feel like it's doing the most, but if you try to sing this song, it's actually really challenging. So not only was she singing the song and executing at like this high level, she was also moving and giving us performance, which I think, I don't know if this consciously or subconsciously, but these contestants and these artists know that they're trying to work towards the lives. And one of the things that the coaches are looking for is not only if you can deliver a good vocal, but if you can give us performance as well, because this is a television show. As much as we hate that element of it sometimes, this is a TV show, so we need to be entertained. And Aźan is going to give you performance. And she did that in this performance too. I said, come on, range, because she was finding places to show her range and make these choices that showed off not only her chest voice, but her falsetto as well. I have this thing where I say, I want to see if all lines are finished. And all of her lines were finished. And I didn't know how she was doing this, because like there was nothing tapering off at the end where it felt like you were saying, like it felt like she was gasping for air. It was like she has like these lungs of steel to be able to give the vocal that she was giving. She is a show woman, and I mean that in the best way, because it's not overdone, it's not inauthentic, but I am entertained by the end of her performances. So way to go, Aźan.
She did what she needed to do. Like I didn't find a reason to say like that shouldn't have been in there, or that's a good reason why, whatever. Like, not there. She did it.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Okay, our next artist was Nini Iris, and she sang a song that I didn't think that I was familiar with, but once she got to one part of it, I was like, oh, I think I do know this song. Very interesting choice. Karma Police by Radiohead. What did you think about that?
So we didn't have this rolling as we were watching. If we did, you would have seen my face when they announced Karma Police. My face did this.
It did.
Huh? Like
did.
that, like I just like in a singing competition for somebody to pick this song. It's just like this has never struck me as an interesting vocal song.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of kind of creepy arrangement stuff in the musicianship, and that's kind of what Radiohead is known for.
Right.
But I would never have thought like somebody could do this and showcase their vocal ability.
Right.
You know. So I didn't know what to expect when she started singing. I was skeptical that she could make anything come out. Really. Mm-hmm. And I held on to that skepticism for like 30 seconds or so. Like, I mean, it was only like probably a 2-minute performance, but yeah, the first little bit, I was still like, I don't know if I believe this. Mm-hmm. And then she got into it, and she let the voice out, and it was like, okay, now I can see why she went for it. Like it's still an off the wall choice, but for her to be able to sing those lyrics, because it's not like you're singing something to somebody. You're not singing about so much an emotion about love. You're singing about, I don't know, what is it? A man who buzzes like a fridge. He's like a detuned radio. Like it is
the abstractness of it all, or abstractness of it all.
Those aren't even the most abstract. It gets weirder than that.
Okay.
So yeah, like it. Thinking about it now, like you can't even like just get your heart and soul behind the words, because it's not like a simple love song or feeling lonely or whatever. It's out there,
right?
So, but she impressed me by the end. I mean, she found the right places in it to, I think, to make it sound enough like the original song, because what the band was playing was actually fairly faithful. It wasn't it wasn't a new interpretation of the song. It was pretty much like, this is about what the song sounds like,
right?
So for her to sing what she did, to not make it radically different, like to be faithful to the song, but still like find her spots to develop her voice, to let it pop out and let it really be heard. I liked her choices. I really did. And then the times where she did, it was like, oh, you have a huge voice. It's like
Right.
there's, and she showed up in the right places, and then the song was over. Oh man, I could have kept listening to that. So I mean, I thought that was a really challenging song to be able to do, and to do it as well as she did. And her voice, I mean, she was on pitch. She hit what she needed to hit. She was, that's not the right word, like properly quiet at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and then properly loud,
Mm-hmm.
and just completely powerful
Right.
by the end of it. Like, I liked the range of it, not just the vocal range, but how she put a lot of different sounds and elements into that song.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thumbs up for me.
Thumbs up. So, based on your reaction to the song, I was like, oh no, I don't know what we're getting into, because from what the little bit that you described it just didn't seem like a singer's song. And we've had that before, where it's just some songs are just not singer songs. And we've also seen where people take songs that are not singer songs and they sing them down. And that's exactly what Nini did. Like, she she sang this song down. Her chest voice is insane. Like, the depth of her vocal coming from her chest voice was insane. And I don't know this song well at all, but I could tell the spots where it seemed like she was making melodic choices that were probably different from the original, where she would do like these little runs or flourishes, like we call them. And I was just like, yo, this is insane. I felt like I was at the Nini concert. And like, there were some pronunciation or enunciation issues. I couldn't catch all of the lyrics. Just like we'll see Reba say about a different contestant not being able to catch all the words. Like, I didn't really care, because I was like just all about this performance and all about the vocal that she was giving. She was using dynamics in a really cool way. I really need to listen to the original song to really get a good grasp of all that she was doing. But what she did do was give us performance, and what she did do is give us an insane vocal. And that's what I've come to expect from Nini anyway. And she definitely delivered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So our last vocalist was Olivia Minogue, and when they said her song choice, I was like, wait, what? So she sang "Bring Me to Life" by Evanescence. What you think about that?
I kept waiting for the voice to go, "Wake me up." Which they did have that later on. Some of the save.
Yeah, they did have the guys say, because you need that. Like, you have to have some of that. And
when you know it's there.
Yeah, and I've forgotten that in this round they do have the background singers sing some of it, sing some of the background vocals. So it was needed for this song, or it just would have felt a little empty. But go ahead, what was your take on Olivia's performance?
I liked what she did with it. The song has a lot of big notes, and she chose to do, I mean, she did a verse at the beginning where it's lower, but it gets like this for a lot of the song. And you have to have a suitable voice for it, like big enough to do it. Mm-hmm. And she did. To her credit, she did not get tired with it. Like, she had a good physical presence as well. She was in it, and she put forward a lot of energy into it. So I did like her, the vocal power all the way through the song, which has got to be hard to do, even for just 2 minutes. I mean, that's a lot of output, and she did it really well. So I liked that about it. I did feel like sometimes the power was kind of substituting for the precision in some of the notes. Okay. Which, I mean, it's really hard to be that precise when you're full, just giving it everything. I think sometimes that caused her performance to suffer a little bit. Mm-hmm. Maybe just giving that much, because I noticed sometimes some of the notes were, to me, a little bit off, and some of the phrases ended a little bit kind of like she was trying to push, and then when you let off, it just kind of it just dropped.
Okay.
because there was so much pushing going on,
Right.
which is out of necessity, for sure. So I felt like that was a little more noticeable in her voice than in some other voices.
Okay.
But I mean, I wouldn't have been able to sing a song with that much oomph behind it the way that she did, and she finished it well too.
This is a big song, y'all. This is
you can't fake your way through. Wake me up inside. Like, ooh, there's a lot going on.
This is a big song. And I was nervous. I was real nervous because it's a big song for a couple reasons. It's a big song because in the female part of it, like where you have your power, like number one, you need all the power. So you have to have power. You even have to have power or attack for the verses. Like they're not as powerful, but there's like a attack to it, if that makes sense. Like there's an intensity that needs to be there for the verses, and that's energy as well. Even doing a more low tone thing, but having that intensity behind it, that could be a hit to your breath support just as much as the powerful higher range stuff to the song.
That's true. Because if I can jump in, if you start running out of breath when you have to be controlled like that, like you're gonna. Whereas if it's big, you can just blast it out and be done. But it'll show up in the verse. You're right.
Yeah. So, and what she did was she did a verse, and then I believe there's the chorus, and then she did that bridge, and then she did the chorus. So she was doing a lot of the big stuff, y'all. And I was waiting for like the balloon of her voice to start deflating, and it never did. It just never did. And like she held her own on this song. Like I was very nervous, and I was ready to come on here and be like, y'all, she tried. She tried, but she really like, and no, this is not live because this is a recording, but they only get one shot to do it. So in that sense, this is live. Y'all if you try to sing this song on karaoke, you're going to be out of breath with a couple drinks in you. So like to do what she did in this song, and that band was happy. That band was happy. You heard the drummer hitting, and like we can always tell when the band is happy. I know they were happy to do this song. I said the holleration of it all, because she was just straight hollering from her chest in the best way. And there might have been a couple pitchy things, but I will also say that we were looking and watching this on the TV. We did not have our good ears in. So, and this was on, like, we're doing this on one listen. We haven't, gone over and over these. Well, I've heard the other one a couple times because they released the other knockout that we had a couple times. But for this one, we only watched it once. So who knows? If we put it in our good ears, we might not hear any pitch things. And I know sometimes we'll hear it when we're just watching on TV, and then I'll put it in my good ears, and I was like, wait a minute, that was actually clean. So Olivia, ma'am, that was a brave move, ma'am. Like that was this is the knockouts, and I'm trying to get through to the next round kind of choice. And you executed 1000%.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with that one.
Listen, we've been waiting for somebody to do some Evanescence, something with some holleration in the throat. That 90s rock holleration. Was that 90s or 2000s? Was that 2000?
It must have been right around the turn of the century.
Okay.
Right around 2000 is what I would guess. But yeah, that's in that pocket of music that right there. That's the stuff. Yep.
Yeah, she was giving. Olivia, ma'am, you gave us performance too. Like you were giving us performance. It was awesome. It was really awesome.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel like I have to agree with that, because that was one of the things I wrote down too that I didn't even mention yet. Good physical presence. She was there. I believed it.
and for a song that big, like you have to perform it kind of, or you get kind of swallowed up in it. And she was not small on that stage. She made her presence big in a big song. Mm-hmm. So way to go. Now, Mr. Niall was back for these performances, which I was glad about. I don't know why. For a second, I thought that maybe Dan and Shay would be there to make the decision too, but Niall was back to make the decision. I think that that's only right since they were his artists. But I like Dan and Shay. I'm looking forward to them in season 25. I like their presence. I like the things that they had to say. And I liked how it just seemed like they really cared about these contestants. They don't know them, but it seemed like they really cared about them. So looking forward to seeing you, Dan and Shay, in season 25.
Here comes the announcement.
Big Mad. If we do our Big Mad clips at the end of the week, this is gonna be on there. I'm Big Mad. So now had a difficult decision to make. He chose for Nini to move on in the competition, and Aźan and Olivia were sent home.
Too many good singers. I don't know.
Right. And that's exactly what he said. I think he was half joking, but now I was like, next time I come on this show, I'm going to pick like 8 bad singers and 4 really good singers. That way I can just have an easier track to the lives and all of that. And I know that he's kidding, but I can see what he's saying because this is a TV show. There's only but so many people that can go through. And, you know, it's just a shame when you see really, really, really talented artists that have to leave. So, Aźan, Olivia, keep singing. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Use this vehicle of The Voice to continue down this road because you were both very, very talented.
Yeah, and it's a shame that between the blind auditions and then each individual round, like no one sings more than like a minute and a half, 2 minutes at a time. So like you add up all that time, like, you know, you progressed in for 2 months since the show started, and we've really only heard like 5 or 6 minutes of singing from each person who's gone home. Like, what a shame.
It is a shame.
That's the part the judges don't like to. They'd say it over and over again until we get sick of it. But I mean, it's got to be true. There's no substitute for having to make a difficult choice.
Yeah.
Send somebody home.
Yeah. I guess it's just more of a testament to how much talent there was this season, or there is this season. True. Yep. So for our next knockout, we had Coach Gwen. And again, this was our leak that we got earlier today. So I got to check it out a little bit earlier. Matt just had one view of it. We had Tanner Massey, we had Chechi Sarai, and we had Rudi. Heavy hitters. And I feel like I'm going to say that about every knockout because by this, at this point.
What else can you say?
Right. So up first, we had Tanner. Tanner, you listened to the Pitchy podcast? Because we said, sir, in your last performance, in your last battle, that we heard some Shawn Mendes in your throat, sir. So I was very happy to see that you were singing In My Blood by the Shawn Mendes.
I think it might have been Reba. One of the judges said something about how he has the ability to like communicate with a song where you don't know what is going on behind the scenes with him to make him feel that way. Mm-hmm. But when you listen to him, you're like, oh, there is something there that made him feel this way. Like there's no doubt. So, and that's not a universal gift. Like you can be a great vocalist and it's just people can hear you sing like that's good, and but to be able to sing it in a way that people who are, if they're paying attention, feel like, oh, I get that that's right. It, I like that, like that kind of connection. And he does. Whoever, I think it was Rebo, whichever judge said that, they were right about him. Right. In this performance, he did that. I thought something he did really well was the beginning of this, when he was talk singing something about verses on the bathroom floor. Like it was just kind of thrown in there not in an unartistic way, but in a way that was like, I think that seemed to be the epitome of communicating in a way. It's like, yeah, okay. He's in bad shape right now. Like, I believe it. There it is.
Right.
So, so yeah, that was remarkable. And is he 18? Something like that. He's
19.
young.
He's young.
19. Okay. So he doesn't have as much life experience as some of the older singers, and to be able to communicate that way is a real gift.
Right.
He did it very well, I think. I do like his voice quality too. Yeah. So that was impressive. I wanted to hear something that he didn't give me during that, though.
What you want to hear?
It isn't in my blood. I wanted to hear a nice blood, like let out, and let the note sit. Listen in my blood. See, I can.
You coming on here?
I can do that because it's a full octave lower than he was singing.
Massey came to sing tonight, y'all.
It was just to make a point. He didn't give me that. Somewhere I wanted to hear him just open up and hold out a note and let it just sit there and be like, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't do it.
Okay.
I don't know. Every time he hit the "in my blood" line, he isn't in my blood. He let it off.
Okay.
I don't know if that was an artistic choice. I don't know if it was because that note is tough. Maybe that note is tough for hit in that range, right there.
Breast support of it all.
Maybe he could not hold it out in a way that could sustain that, like for as long and as big as I wanted to hear it.
Right.
I don't know what it could have just been the way that he wanted to sing the song.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I felt like to me the song suffered because it didn't have that big open, nice, like supported notes. I wanted to hear that, so that was something that I was waiting to hear and didn't, put it that way. So much I didn't like, but I felt unsatisfied when you finished for that reason, for that way.
Are you familiar with the song?
Somewhat.
I feel like there really isn't a place for him to do that. Like, maybe there is. Maybe there is. No, I'm not getting on here. Y'all, it is 10:55. I'm not getting on here and singing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to think if there was there might have been a space for him to do that. I can see what you're saying with that. But what I will say is that if it was an artistic choice on his part, or if it was a breath support issue where he just didn't quite have the air to continue on, he made some darn good choices to do some flourishes at the end or to chop it off, to not make it apparent that he might be having breath control issues. When you're talking about the beginning part, I love the beginning part of that song anyway, because it's very conversational. It is kind of talky singing. I felt like Tanner did a little bit more singing than even Sean did, because he's like it's all lows and it's all in this chest voice thing, and it's very. I love what he did with it because he was not giving me dynamics, but even in the of it, like I felt like he was communicating his pain, and he was communicating like the ache that he was feeling. And it's really difficult, I think, for female and male voices when you get in that lower register like that to be able to make that impactful. And I think that was so like the way he did it was really, really impactful. It drew me in. It was like, dude, what you going through? Like it was really effective and really tender at the same time.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like that was just like, all right, I can see this happening. Like it's there.
Right.
Yeah, he did that very well.
Yeah. I love the quality of his voice. He's got, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, but he's got kind of like that really clean, nice boy band pop vocal. Like, and I don't mean boy band in a bad way, because some of my favorite vocalists are boy band vocalists. It's just this really clean, clear, round tone. And yeah, I was just like, come on, runs at some of the ends of what he was doing. Give me runs. I just believed him. Like, I just really believed Tanner. And like, he's just really, really gifted and really talented. So I really enjoyed that. All right, let's move on to Chechi. Chechi sang Never Can Say Goodbye by Jackson 5. What did you think?
Liked it. I think she did a lot with what could be a hard song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not in the tones and the melody. It's not simple.
Right.
So she chose that. Good for her.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard this analogy before, that you have different sections of your voice can be compared to driving a car in different gears.
Okay, come
like
on.
You shift between this voice and this voice, like
Yes.
wherever it is in you. And John mentioned something about that in his comment. Like, he thought that she didn't do a good job, like, not do a good job. He thought she could have been more smooth in shifting from one to another.
Right.
I didn't notice that. Like, I liked it, and I wrote down, like, I was impressed by the different gears in her voice.
Okay.
I didn't notice spots where it sounded rough from one to the other. Like, I could tell she was singing in different spots, but I thought she handled it very well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she showcased that. Look at all the gears I got in my voice. Like, that's not something everybody can do.
Right.
She can sound somewhat different from here to here to here, but that was a song that forced her to do all of that.
Right.
So, yeah, I thought she picked a challenging song to do it with, and not one that was just going to be a big power ballad. You know, like, you can't just open up and blast on this song either.
Yeah.
You have to be sensitive. You have to pull it back here and there. You gotta put some, not attitude, but like feeling in a way it's not simple.
Mm-hmm.
So good for her. I was a fan of that song. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's what was interesting. After the never can say goodbye, no, never can say goodbye. The first, I guess that would be considered the verse. The first time she sang it through, she was in her falsetto a lot. Like, she went between her chest voice and her falsetto a lot. And that felt a little unstable to me for some reason. Like, it just didn't feel like everything was connecting in a way. Maybe that's what John was talking about.
Sounds like it.
But then once she returned back and did I guess verse 2, she was all in her chest voice. And it was actually really not shocking, because I know Chechi, you can sing. It was just so shocking a little bit, because the impression that I had is that you weren't doing that in your chest voice the first time around, because it was hard for you to hit those notes in your chest voice. But then once you did it, it was just like, that's where you should have been. I felt like that's where you should have been the entire time, because it was so much more clean and so much more impactful. And it felt more stable, which was kind of like, I was not expecting that. And I don't know if that was you just settling into the song, or I don't know if that was a conscious choice to kind of show dynamics and kind of show the breathiness in your voice, which we did get to hear. That is the thing that makes you sound old school, that kind of breathiness that you have in your voice, that breathy quality and breathy tone to your voice. Like Matt said, you showed us all your gears. And I think that this was a great song choice for you to show all of those gears. Because number one, you have them, and not everybody has the whistle gear. So like, if you have it and can execute it, do it. And you did it really tastefully. You didn't do it too much. It wasn't like, oh, you should go whistling again. Like, it was really tasteful, but if I had it, I'd be showing it off too, because again, we are trying to move forward in these knockouts. So I thought that was a really nice choice to add that to the end. But I think that this song was a really good song choice for you, because you have that kind of throwback voice, like that Motown. We hear Motown in your throat. You know, I hear Diana in your throat. So I thought it was really smart to choose a song from that era and from that, people that were, in Motown, basically. So I thought it was a great song choice. I thought you gave us performance. There was a kind of a conversation that I felt like we got the back end of, where Winona was talking about some insecurities and things like that. And we have heard a little bit about that with you in prior rounds. I didn't feel as much of a wall, but I did feel a bit of a wall. I felt like there were times where you were using performance to sell the song rather than just being in the song, but I didn't feel that as much as I have in previous performances. So I can see you working through that. It was lovely. It was lovely.
Do you think that it was her choice to sing that first part in falsetto was like being more tentative? Like I didn't really notice. I guess it didn't jump out
right
that way. Do you think that was her being tentative, or do you think that was her trying to show something else, which maybe wasn't as effective as the second time?
I think it was probably her trying to show something else. I don't think that it was tentative, because I feel like she's going to plan out what she's going to do for this performance and not just make a snap decision, especially because she was able to execute that head voice. So I feel like that it was a conscious choice. And I don't know, for me, it just did not make the same impact as when she did it with her chest voice. But the overall performance was fantastic. So well done, Chechi. So our last performer was Rudi. Rudi gave us a real unexpected song. She gave us Smoking Out the Window by Silk Sonic. What did you think?
I thought I thought she did not hit a bad note. She's like, I mean, it was all good from the beginning to the end.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, I mean, she physically embodied what she was doing. Nothing looked like it was her showing that she was not. Nothing looked unsure, I guess.
That's right.
She had proper swagger for the song, which is, well, you don't necessarily feel that. I think she was the one in the pre-recorded stuff rehearsal talking about how nervous she was.
Mm-hmm.
So it did not look nervous at all.
Sure didn't.
And she was properly behind the beat at the beginning of the song, sliding in, talking like it felt like you're leaning it, like you lean with the song there. That was, yeah. And she, I don't know. I guess I won't say I have nothing else to say. Like it was good. There was nothing to point out to say like that note was weak or that note was off. Like she hit everything.
Right.
What are you going to do with that? Send her on to the next round.
Right.
That's what it feels like. Okay, good. You're good. Go. I don't have anything else to say.
Just go.
No, she was impressive. Yeah.
Welcome to the Rudi show. Like we came to Rudi's concert. I don't know, like that's where we were, because that's how it felt. Like she got on that stage and she was like, "Let's go," and she completely embodied the feel of that song. And like, you better, like, that song has so much swag to it and so much it's a risky choice, but if you're gonna do it, you better jump in with both feet. And she absolutely did. I heard it's so crazy because we did in the previous podcast where we talked about Rudi, I said that I heard Shoshana Bean in her voice. Do you know who Shoshana Bean is? She's straight up Shoshana. Mm-hmm. I heard some Tori Kelly, but it's like an alto Tori Kelly. Like it was just and with like an R&B swag to it. Like her chest voice. Let me buy your CD. Like, hurry up and come out with something so that I can listen to your chest voice like all day long. It was just a full performance. And again, like I said before, like as we're moving further and further along in this competition, and especially now that we're in the knockouts, these coaches want to see what these artists are going to do and what their potential is for the lives. And in the lives, we want to be entertained. We don't see up tempos too much in these singing competitions because everybody can't handle them. Everybody can't keep up with the breath support that you need and the performance quality that you need to be able to sell a mid-tempo or up-tempo song. So it was a really brave decision for Rudi to say, I'm going to give you up-tempo, I'm going to give you performance, but I'm going to remind y'all that I'm going to give you vocal too, because this is Silk Sonic. This is Bruno Mars. You know Bruno Mars. Yeah, you know Bruno Mars is going to give you straight vocal. So that's exactly what Rudi did. So it was a fantastic performance.
Yeah, and as far as the swag went, like you caught that one point where she sang a particular note, and John Legend's like, "Ooh."
Oh, she said a particular word.
Yeah.
She said this. And John was like,
yeah. But I mean, I guess at that point, what are you going to say? This person, like,
yeah, like you got to be all in.
You might as well say it.
You know what exactly
part of the song. It's part of the movie.
You know that's the lyric of the song, and if NBC says, yeah, you can use that word at 9:00 at night, then we're gonna use that word at 9:00 at night and say it with authority. Might as well. She went for it. So Gwen had a very tough decision. Again, Gwen keeps having these tough decisions to make. And it was interesting because she was kind of ruminating over what she was going to do. And she said, I have a plan. I have a plan. Like, oh, that means somebody might get saved. We'll see what happens. So she ended up choosing Tanner to move forward as the winner of the knockout. And then Chechi unfortunately did not get a save or a steal. So unfortunately she's headed home. Rudi went to say her goodbyes, and we had pop, pop, pop.
She got them all.
Almost all.
Almost
all. So Gwen hit her button along with Reba and John. So Rudi had her pick of which coach she wanted to move forward in the competition with. But Gwen said the magic word. She was like, Rudi, I said I had a plan. So, Reba did her pitch. John did his pitch. But in the end, Rudi stayed with her coach, Coach Gwen. So that is how the show ended. And it was a good one.
Yeah. I have to wonder what Gwen was thinking. If she knew, like, I've got my save, now do I? Which one do I pick? Who do I think is most in danger of actually getting stolen away from?
I think she thought that was Tanner.
Yeah.
Which is why she
held on to him.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, so it was a good night.
Yes, indeed.
Good night of music. Thanks for joining me. It's very late, and to be if y'all see I'm wearing the same thing as the previous episode is because I just got finished the episode with Justin Aaron. That if you did not check that out, check out episode 86 where we're talking about the Battle Night 6 and Knockout Night 1. But this was a bit of a marathon tonight, so thanks for joining me.
You're welcome. It was pretty cool to be called on pinch hit. So I feel like it's something that you invest a lot in. So it felt like an honor to be asked to do it.
Well, I appreciate it, and you did very well.
Thank
you. Might ask you back again.
I wouldn't mind.
And like I said, Matt is a talented singer, songwriter, and musician, and I'm going to put a link in the show notes for the song that he has out that he did a while ago, but it's still a good one, Song 27, so that y'all can check that out. So let me tell you what you need to know as we close. So don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Pitchy Podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you can be the first to know when we drop a new episode. And don't forget to check us out on YouTube. Please search for the Pitchy Podcast and hit that subscribe button so you know when we drop a new video. And last, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at The Pitchy Podcast for new episode alerts, episode clips, and so much more. All right, it's late, y'all. We gotta go to bed. See ya next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.